Thank you very much, dear Chair, dear Commissioner Schinas, ευχαριστώ, πολύ. Thank you very much for being here today with us. I believe this debate is extremely timely. Indeed, the sabotage of the Nord Stream 2 can be seen as an alarm bell that is telling us that we can be hurt substantially through physical actions, not to mention the already well-known capacity of third actors to interfere in our democratic process through hybrid means. While it is certainly true that we must create and empower ad hoc EU bodies and entities such as the hybrid response team, I have always considered essential to follow a whole of government and whole of society approach in order to increase our resilience. To this extent, the strategic compass clearly states that one of the main points will be a reinforcement of the so-called cyber diplomacy toolbox. Therefore, I would like to ask you to elaborate further on the way forward for moving this wheel from the paper to concrete actions. Will it be possible to include provisions of cyber actions in the international agreements we sign for trying to prevent cyber attacks as much as possible? And what about the diplomatic responses to be put in place in case these efforts fail? Thank you very much.
Mr. Schinas.
Caro Fabio, thank you for this question. It's a last question, but indeed it covers an area that has not been covered so far, an area which is not under my remit of EU Security Vice President, but an area which is particularly relevant to the issues we're discussing today. This diplomatic toolbox is a fantastic instrument that we have in our disposal to be able to hit, to be able to act. And we used it, as you know. We used it against few cases, but we used it effectively each time that we had solid evidence on the perpetrators and the culprits of these attacks. This is an instrument which is in the remit of our foreign policy, Josep Borrell, with whom I'm working very closely on all these areas. And what I can tell you is that, as far as I'm concerned, I would plea for more frequent and effective use of this facility, although we have the difficulty of unanimity, as you well know, because each time that we have to use it, we have to find and seek unanimous agreement in our member states, which is not the easiest thing to do at the European Union level. But the instrument is good. The instrument is good. And this reinforces also my perception that when we're discussing security and threats, the threats we are facing are mutually dependent. So if we have a failure in a high voltage line in Germany, for example, then we have millions of customers in France, in Italy, in Spain cut off from the grid. And if we have an undersea gas pipeline being attacked, this would have an impact to many countries far from the scene of the attack. So this interconnection of threats and the fact that they are mutually dependent compels us to use every instrument we have at our disposal, both within the remit of EU law and in the remit of our foreign policy.
Thank you. Mr. Castaldo, do you have an additional question? No? So many thanks to all colleagues for their questions, and many thanks to the Vice President Schinas for the very informative and concrete answers. I think the question hour is a big success also for this Parliament. We will close this question hour. Thank you very much.